So, like I said, it appears that the woodwork is no longer capable of holding me back from making statements surrounding this whole Xbox thing. A lot of people like to play that they're objective, but deep down, when you analyze the things that they say or the conclusions that they come up with, you'll find out that they're empty. They'll also downplay things that are factual in order to make themselves seem correct. This kind of tomfoolery does not resonate with me. Destin made a video talking about what is going on with Xbox. He got a lot of pushback from his community and his audience. A lot of people told him and said, you are taking Phil Spencer's comments out of context, not even looking at the reality of things that are actually going on in the background. On his comment section, it was this tit for tat, which I got involved in, just answering, to somebody's comment. And I thought that, the goalpost movers were quick to jump in. You'll see exactly what I'm saying here in a few seconds. So let's dive in. Now, this particular comment that somebody made here from Mr. Bust basically said, making great games should be their number one priority, even though it doesn't win them the console race. Now, if we actually break down this particular statement, you are going to hear something that sounds like Xbox should go ahead and do what it is that I think they should do, even if they lose money, because winning the console race is about making money. I mean, at the end of the day, Sony is doing what they're doing so that they can make money. Sony is not your mommy. They're not here trying to provide you what you like just because they like you. They want your money. Microsoft is also here trying to also take your money by bringing Game Pass, but they're giving you a huge value for it. That's just the big difference. You see, a lot of these AAA games that people side with Sony, they become $10 after a few months. They become $25, $34, $39 when they're going on sale and they're starting to discount them heavily. You can just basically sit back, relax, and wait, and you can buy these games for very cheap. Now, the only thing is you're not getting the convenience of playing them in day one. With Game Pass, when a game shows up from the Microsoft studios or from any studios that they're working with, you're getting them day one for a small subscription fee. It is a better value financially. We can run the numbers if you want, but people like these, it doesn't really matter when they say crap just comes out of their keyboards and you're just like, yo, what are you talking about? They continue and said, and I'll read it. I know you can't see it on your screen. They say, otherwise, why make games in the first place? What? This can only be explained by their motivation to make as much money as possible with the least amount of effort required, therefore making them useless as a gaming company. This is a useless statement again as well. As a gaming company, your primary aim is to be able to maximize profit. A lot of these gamers really do think that these gaming companies are out here as freaking charities. They don't really understand that they're beholden to shareholders and they want to continue to own and keep their market share. Microsoft went ahead and went to the cloud and subscription service and carved a huge segment of that niche for themselves, and they're actually winning to the point where Stadia, even Google, could not necessarily compete with them, and Stadia had to fold up. That is very powerful. I think that's probably one reason why I would say the Activision deal probably should not go to Microsoft at this point, because it will make them too much of a juggernaut in an instant. But there's still the capability of them using their $60 billion to still wreak a lot of havoc in the gaming industry. They're going to buy a lot of games. So anybody that's sitting here that's not yet swallowed the reality pill, you need to understand that once Game Pass started being profitable and they saw the way that they could actually maximize it, Microsoft was willing to write the check and say, you know what, Phil, go buy whatever it is you think is going to make this service a massive juggernaut. Now, the comment and the replies for this Mr. Bus comment was actually the funniest, because a lot of people came back and started to push and say, he never said that. Justin Dodd says, he didn't say they aren't going to make good games, because it's obvious. And so I commented and said, Fable, Indiana Jones, Starfield, Elder Scrolls, Avowed, Hellblade. Did these games all get canceled? And so people are even saying to him, he's not saying he doesn't want to make great games. He's just saying that hardware sales and great games are not going to drive the impact on the market share in hardware. Learn to listen. This is one of these dumb media takes that these people basically that make people just speak corporate speak and not be, in a sense, transparent with gamers. Now, here's where the goalpost moving was. And this is where I say that we have to be very careful. This person writes and replies me and says, are they great games or just another 6 to 7 games shoveled out to fill out Game Pass like Redfall, Bleeding Edge, Crackdown, Sea of Thieves? I don't know what world Elder Scrolls is going to be compared to any of these games. I don't know what world what's the name? Hellblade is going to be compared with all these games. I don't know what world Fable or Fable 4 or Fable 3 is going to be compared to any of these games. Because to me seems like someone is trying to move the goalpost to maybe make themselves think that they're actually, onto something or correct. Now, if these games came out and they failed, categorically get, poorly reviewed, then that is just in my opinion, a product of the games themselves. But Microsoft, when it comes to the review space, they seem to have been getting really good review scores for a good number of their games compared to the number of their games that are quite poor. Even in this year alone, Hi-Fi Rush, their Minecraft game, have gotten good review scores compared to Redfall. If you look at even Sea of Thieves, wild. I know this person is over here saying or throwing shade at Sea of Thieves, but no one is going to tell you that Sea of Thieves is actually a game that, is reviewing very well for Microsoft. These people will make you, if you want to be objective, come out and sound like you're a Microsoft apologist, when in reality, they're just not being honest. And the dishonesty is, in my opinion, something that just almost drives me crazy. I don't know why they continue to do it. I don't know why they continue to, in a sense, make themselves seem like they have, something to offer when it comes to the conversation. In general, they're only just biased. They just want to sound correct. They want to play this team sport. Oh, my team is winning over your team. When in reality, Microsoft is also winning. And I'll show you the evidence to that, effect. Because, a lot of people want to talk, all of this stuff, but nobody really wants to come and crunch the numbers and see how Microsoft is doing a good job with their Game Pass. That being valuable, by the way, it's not just Game Pass as a thing. It's valuable for gamers. Gamers actually like Game Pass. They want Game Pass. So let's do some numbers just to, go ahead and just, back up this position, and then I'll walk away from this video. Horizon Forbidden West, its sales have topped 8.4 million units. So basically in about a year, because, if you think about it, as of February, it's probably when they were citing this data. You need to if you read the article, you'll see that that's around the time that they got these numbers. So 8.4 million units in the year 2022. God of War Ragnarok is sitting at somewhere around 11 million units. We're going to run the math, okay, on these games, and we're going to see if the profitability for these games actually do compare to what Game Pass's profitability is. And we don't necessarily have all the numbers. The numbers are not going to be 100% accurate to and true to life, but it's going to definitely help us get a good picture as to exactly what may be going on in this particular case. All right. So let's jump in with a calculator and let's continue to, basically run our numbers. Horizon Forbidden West, let's say it has 9 million copies. 9 million copies. And then let's say God of War Ragnarok has 11 million copies. Let's do 11 million copies, right? Now, when we add up this, we're going to see that this is about 20 million copies at the cost of, let's say everybody paid $70 for it. That's $1.4 billion across 2 games in sales. Now, this is more than likely not going to be the number, but we estimate it on the high side because this is also a PS4 title as well as God of War Ragnarok. So some people paid 60, some people paid 70, some people probably got it with a bundle when they bought a new PlayStation. But I'm giving every single one of those copies a $70 price tag. I'm being nice. Now, this $1.4 billion does not even account for the cost of production, of which, if you go and look at God of War 2018, it is cited that its production cost was around $40 million. Now, they didn't spend $40 million. I don't think they would have spent $40 million to make the sequels of both games. But if we say production cost is somewhere around maybe $40 million for both games, we're going to have to subtract that $40 million, right? So minus $40 million, we're looking at $1.36 billion. When we look at marketing, ad spend, all of that stuff, let's just throw out $100 million for both games. $100 million, because it's not, again, Sony is not, shy from making it. That's $1.2 billion after making 2 games, hoping that one of them wasn't going to fail, and so on and so forth. Game Pass, on the other hand, is cited to having about 25 million subscribers. So let's look at that 25 million, subscriber count, and let's see what's going on. So 25 million subscribers, and if everybody went ahead and subscribed at the $120 price tag per year, I know some people are paying for Ultimate, some people got it for free, but remember, I gave Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West a $70 price tag. So we're going to kind of do almost similar for Game Pass. That is $3 billion. $3 billion. Let's just say they spend a third of that, which is $1 billion for production, for acquisition of games, for running their servers, for taxes, expenses, and a third of that is what they spent minus 1 billion, right? That's 10 billion. Minus 1 billion, it still puts him at $2 billion. So the truth is, for not as much effort or time management in it, in a sense, I won't say effort. Let's just say for very minimal management, what I think is very minimal management, Microsoft is able to make $2 billion compared to Sony, who has to manage all of the processes of making these video games, possibly having them get delayed multiple times, and thereby shifting back profitability. Game Pass can just remain profitable. This should give anyone who's on the Xbox system a little bit of hope to say, you know what? Microsoft might be on to something, because with this $2 billion, they can infuse way better games into their ecosystem. They can take chunks of it to do development, to basically continue to give them an upper hand. They can use that money to negotiate with third-party developers to bring games to Game Pass. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, Microsoft making games or Xbox making games is not really that important when they have a service like Game Pass. Don't minimize a very good ecosystem that serves its customers. This is the problem that we have. People don't understand that the market is in need of somebody that can actually shake things up, because Sony has always sat down with these high production, games to make it seem like, oh, they're doing something great when they are trying to be profitable as well and sell consoles. Microsoft has decided, hey, we're just going to find a way to be profitable and bring more games than Sony can ever produce. So that's the idea. They're going to bring their own games, even though they're not going to be coming as, frequently as possible. They're going to come in the calendar of when they're ready. But at the same time, while you're waiting, they're also going to be bringing games from other third-party, developers, which will have their quality for you to be able to enjoy at launch for a very small fee. If you subscribe to Game Pass, it's a win. I know many people may be sitting here and talking. They're the loudest ones on the internet. Those people who are truly enjoying Game Pass are probably, in the most part, not even engaging in a conversation, because when you engage in a conversation, they'll say, oh, you're an Xbox fan. I'm a PC player. Most people don't even really know that we PC, the PC side of things, are basically just enjoying ourselves. We don't have any, vested interest in the so-called console wars. We're just chilling here and enjoying the value that's actually there for gamers. So until people start to look at that value proposition, they'll never get it in their heads. They'll continue to think, oh, Sony is giving us what we want. Well, Sony is giving you what you want, but you're giving them what they want. I mean, it's not necessarily mutually exclusive. And Microsoft is giving its 25 million Game Pass subscribers exactly what they want. For those who may be saying that it doesn't make Microsoft seem this or Xbox seem to be useless as a gaming company, sell your Xbox. It'll probably help you to move on better. Peace out.